The morning haze over Valhalla Golf Club was just beginning to lift, but the tension hung heavier than the Kentucky humidity as Charlie Woods teed off in solo second after 3 blistering rounds. Calm on the outside yet carrying the weight of a dream on the inside. Woods knew one of 2 automatic U.S. Junior Ryder Cup spots was still within reach if he could simply hold his position. Simple in theory. Impossible in golf, especially with history looming. For 3 days he had been electric, smooth off the tee, precise with his irons, fearless on the greens, with galleries buzzing at every birdie, reporters whispering about his inevitability, and fans already penciling his name onto the Ryder Cup roster. But Valhalla, with its tight fairways and unforgiving greens, has no respect for expectations. A bogey at 4, another at 6, then a crushing double on the back 9 turned his free-flowing swing rigid, draining not just the leaderboard but the energy from the crowd that trailed him. By the 18th, his 74+3 had dropped him from solo second to a tie for 9th, and with it, the Ryder Cup ticket slipped away in a single round. Meanwhile, Miles Russell, steady all season atop the AJA points list, didn't need drama to punch his ticket. His place was secured the moment Woods faltered, his smile afterward saying it all. For Charlie, the dream took a gut punch. For Miles, the path to Rome had never been clearer. If you thought Valhalla was the end of Charlie Woods' story, you'd be wrong. It was only the beginning of a fight he wasn't ready to lose. Well, Woods walked away with questions hanging over him. Miles Russell left the 2025 season with answers, and plenty of them. Where Charlie's week was defined by a sudden collapse, Russell's was the product of relentless consistency, the kind of steady climb that made him look born for this stage. Tournament after tournament, he didn't just contend, he finished. His worst results still stronger than most players' best. As the AJA points leader, his resume was bulletproof. Top finishes in flagship events, a runner-up at the Northeast Amateur, and a string of pressure rounds that showed poise beyond his years. By the time RyderCup.com confirmed Russell, alongside Tally, as leaders of Team USA, it felt less like breaking news and more like the inevitable. But this rise wasn't just about mechanics or strategy, it was about presence. .com, calculated and unshakable. Russell carried himself like a champion. That's the line between being another name in the field and being the name on the trophy. Yet with his new role came a heavier crown and a bigger target. Media hailed Russell and Tally as the duo destined to restore American dominance in junior golf, a label that commands respect but also raises expectations sky high. For Russell, it meant validation. For Woods, it meant the bar had been set even higher. To earn a captain's pick now, Charlie couldn't just prove himself, he had to outshine the player already carrying the flag. And here lies the twist. While Russell's seat on the team is locked, history reminds us that sure things in golf rarely stay that way. One swing, one round, one tournament can flip the script. The question is, will Charlie Woods be the one to write that next chapter? For Charlie Woods, Valhalla wasn't the end, it was the spark. His road had gotten steeper, but in sports, steep climbs often make the best stories. And the next battleground was already set. The Junior Players Championship at TPC. While Miles Russell carried the crown into Florida, Woods was determined to pry it loose. Friends said he was back at the range within 48 hours of his stumble, grinding until sunset, not just tweaking swing mechanics or refining his putting stroke, but proving to himself and everyone else that Kentucky was the exception, not the rule. Redemption wasn't abstract, it was a deadline, and the clock was ticking. Sawgrass, with its swirling winds, iconic island greens, and unforgiving sight lines, offered no hiding places, only a stage where contenders commanded the course or were drowned by it. More than a trophy, this was Woods' courtroom. Every hole, every shot, every fist pump would be judged in the shadow of Ryder Cup selection, and the drama deepened because Russell would be there too, walking the same fairways, firing at the same pins, carrying the unofficial captain's crown while Woods fought for his seat at the table. This was no ordinary leaderboard duel. It was the chance to rewrite the narrative Russell had dominated all season. If Woods could outplay him here, he wouldn't just win a tournament, he'd plant a seed of doubt in every selector's mind. A reminder that the so-called undisputed leader might not be as untouchable as he seemed. Could 1 week at undo months of dominance? For Woods, the stakes couldn't have been clearer. This wasn't about a paycheck. It wasn't even about a trophy. It was about rewriting his place in golf's next great chapter. At Sawgrass, this wasn't just about bragging rights. It was about flipping the conversation from Russell's team to who's really leading this team. Because in golf, perception can be as powerful as performance. The winds were swirling, the stage was set, and Charlie Woods walked onto the first tee with one mission: to make Ryder Cup selectors question everything they thought they knew, but strip away the hype, the headlines, and the highlight reels. And golf comes down to numbers, unforgiving, undeniable numbers. Woods' 2025 season had delivered flashes of brilliance. From his breakthrough win at the AJGA Team TaylorMade Invitational, sealed with a blistering final round, to back-to-back 66s that vaulted him into second at the Junior PGA Championship, before his stumble on the last day. These are the peaks that make noise, but they're separated by valleys where the scoreboard told a harsher story. He can catch lightning, but can he bottle it? That's the question the selectors can't escape. Across the ledger sits Miles Russell, whose stats read like a metronome. No missed cuts, no meltdowns, multiple top fives, capped by a runner-up at the Northeast Amateur against one of the deepest junior fields of the year. Russell's year isn't defined by single sparks but by a steady drumbeat of consistency. You know exactly what you'll get, no surprises, no collapses, and in team golf, that kind of predictability is priceless. Yet that reliability comes with its own tension. Woods' best golf has a higher ceiling. His win at the TaylorMade Invitational would have stacked up against many pro-level fields in raw scoring, while Russell's floor is solid concrete. So the captains face a choice. Do you take the volatile spark who can deliver match-winning brilliance out of nowhere, or the steady hand who never gives anything away? It's a battle between volatility and certainty, ceiling versus floor, and in match play, where mental toughness can tilt a duel as much as mechanics, that decision might determine more than just roster spots, could decide who carries the stars and stripes when the pressure is at its peak. For the Ryder Cup captains, Sawgrass was more than another tournament. It was a live audition, one weekend where a single scorecard could shift the balance. Charlie Woods entered branded by inconsistency, but the right numbers at the right time could erase that narrative forever. A top finish in Florida wouldn't just boost his resume, it would send an undeniable message. Leave me off this team at your own risk. That kind of result forces selectors to pause, to redraw lineups, to reconsider what safe really means. But to deliver it, Woods would need to take his best golf off the practice range and let it survive the fire of competition. Would that fire burn him or burn for him? Meanwhile, Miles Russell carried the comfort of predictability, and if he did what he'd done all season, post another steady high finish, he would cement himself as the undisputed anchor of Team USA. That scenario would suffocate the oxygen around Woods' campaign, reducing him to a spectator as the roster narrative locked in without him. For Charlie, the stakes went deeper than one Ryder Cup cycle. This was about identity. Would us junior golf move forward defined by Russell's relentless consistency, or by Woods' fearless surges and high-voltage moments? For the captain, the choice wasn't just about filling a roster spot, it was about choosing DNA, deciding whose competitive fire would define the locker room. Woods' dream was still alive, but survival alone wasn't enough. To seize it, he would have to take the fight directly to Russell, hole after hole, swing after swing, with no holding back. And when the final putt dropped at Sawgrass, the answer wouldn't just decide a roster, it might decide whose name history remembers.